The crash echoed through the mansion like a gunshot. Ethan Whitman froze at his front door, key still in hand, the bouquet of roses trembling against his chest. Inside his own home, his sanctuary, someone had just thrown something. Hard. The sound of shattering glass was followed by a child's muffled cry, then silence. The kind of silence that screamed danger. His heart hammered as he slowly pushed the door open. The foyer stretched before him, gleaming marble and crystal chandeliers, but the usual warmth was gone, replaced by something cold, something wrong. "You stupid, worthless little—" Lydia's voice sliced through the air from the kitchen, sharp enough to draw blood. Ethan's stomach dropped. That couldn't be his wife. Not Lydia, with her charity galas and perfect smile. Not the woman Charleston magazine had called Mother of the Year. He moved toward the sound, but a hand shot out from the hallway closet, gripping his arm with surprising strength. Maria, their housekeeper, pulled him into the shadows, her weathered face pale with fear. "Mr. Whitman, please," she whispered, her accent thick with urgency. "You cannot let her know you are here." "Not yet." What the hell is going on? Ethan tried to pull away, but Maria's fingers dug deeper. "Just watch. Please. You must see with your own eyes or you will never believe me." Through the crack in the kitchen door, Ethan watched his wife, the woman he'd loved for 15 years, grab their 8-year-old daughter Emma by the arm and shake her so hard the child's head snapped back. "I asked you to set the table 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes. Are you deaf? Are you stupid?" Emma's face was streaked with tears, her small body trembling. "I'm sorry, Mommy. I don't want your excuses." Lydia's perfectly manicured hand connected with Emma's cheek. The slap wasn't hard enough to leave a mark that would last, but hard enough to send the message. Emma crumpled, sobbing silently into her hands. The roses fell from Ethan's grip. His legs felt like water. "This has been happening for 2 years, Mr. Whitman," Maria whispered. "Every time you leave for business. Every single time." "No." The word came out broken. "No, that's not—" Lydia would never— Look again. 12-year-old Lucas appeared in the doorway, and Ethan's heart shattered completely. His son, his bright, funny boy who loved baseball and terrible jokes, stood with his shoulders hunched, his eyes fixed on the floor like a prisoner approaching an executioner. "Mom, I finished my homework. Can I please—" "Did I say you could speak?" Lydia's voice was ice. "Did I give you permission to interrupt me while I'm disciplining your sister?" "No, ma'am." "No, ma'am," Lydia mocked. "You think that's good enough? You think saying ma'am makes up for the C you got on your math test? You think it makes up for embarrassing me in front of the school board?" "It was a B-, Mom." The wooden spoon in Lydia's hand came down on the counter with a crack that made everyone in the house flinch. "Are you talking back to me? Are you correcting me?" Lucas's face went white. "No, ma'am. Get upstairs. No dinner tonight. Maybe hunger will teach you respect." Ethan lunged forward, but Maria yanked him back with surprising force. "Not yet. If you go in there without proof, without a plan, she will make you think you are crazy. She will turn the children against you. She will destroy everything." "She's already destroying everything." Ethan's voice cracked. "Then we must be smart. For their sake, we must be smart." 14-year-old Sophia drifted past them like a ghost. So quiet, Ethan almost didn't see her. When had his eldest daughter learned to move like that? Like she was trying to disappear? "Sophie?" he whispered. She didn't hear him. Or maybe she was so used to making herself invisible that she couldn't respond to her own name. She slipped into the kitchen, moving with the practiced caution of someone navigating a minefield. "Mom, can I help with—" "Where have you been?" Lydia spun on her. "I've been calling you for 15 minutes. I was in my room studying. I didn't hear—" "You didn't hear?" Lydia laughed, but there was no humor in it. You have the best hearing in this family when you want to eavesdrop, but when I need you, suddenly you're deaf? You're just like your father. Selfish. Thoughtless. Only thinking about yourself. Something in Ethan's chest twisted at hearing his own name weaponized against his daughter. Sophia's voice came out barely above a whisper. I'm sorry, Mom. Sorry doesn't cut it. You know what? All three of you. Upstairs. Now. No dinner, no TV, no phones. Maybe by morning you'll remember that in this house, you do what I say. When I say it, or you suffer the consequences. The children scattered like leaves in a storm. Maria pulled Ethan away from the door, deeper into the closet. In the darkness, surrounded by winter coats that smelled like mothballs, Ethan Whitman, CEO of a multi-million-dollar commercial real estate company, man who commanded boardrooms and closed impossible deals, broke down. How did I not see this? His voice was ragged. How did I not know? She is very careful, Maria said softly. Only when you are gone. Only when there are no witnesses. She makes them afraid to tell you. She tells them if they speak, she will make sure you send them away. She tells them you will not believe them anyway. I would believe them. God, I would. But would he have? How many times had Lucas seemed withdrawn after Ethan returned from a trip? How many times had Emma clung to him a little too tightly? How many times had Sophia smiled with her mouth but not her eyes? He'd attributed it to teenage mood swings, growing pains, the stress of school. He'd been so blind. What do I do? Ethan grabbed Maria's shoulders. Tell me what to do. We gather proof. Real proof that cannot be denied. Video, audio, witnesses. Then you confront her and you make sure those children are never alone with her again. That could take days. Better days with a plan than a lifetime of regret, Maria said firmly. I have watched you build companies from nothing, Mr. Whitman. You are a smart man. Now you must be a smart father. Ethan straightened, wiping his eyes. Through the crack in the door, he watched Lydia pour herself a glass of wine, her hand steady, her face calm. Like she hadn't just terrorized 3 children, like this was just another Tuesday evening. Tell me everything, he said. That night, Ethan sat in his study with the door locked, listening to Maria's testimony like a man receiving a terminal diagnosis. Every word was a fresh wound. The first time I saw her hit Lucas, he was 10. She said he had made a mess in the bathroom. I wanted to quit that day, but then I thought, who will protect them if I leave? So I stayed. Why didn't you tell me? Maria looked at him with ancient sadness. Mr. Whitman, you are a good man, but you travel 3 weeks out of every month. You trust your wife completely. If I had come to you with accusations, would you have believed me over her? The answer sat like acid in his throat. No, I wouldn't have. So I stayed. I documented what I could. I made sure they had at least one safe person in this house. And I prayed that one day you would come home at the wrong time and see the truth yourself. What else? Ethan's hands were shaking. Tell me everything. She locks Emma in her room for hours when she cries. She tells Lucas he is stupid, that he will never amount to anything. She makes Sophia weigh herself every morning and takes away meals if the number goes up. Each revelation was a hammer blow. She destroyed Sophia's journal when she found the girl had written about being unhappy. She told her that privacy is for people who deserve it, and that Sophia had done nothing to deserve anything. She makes them compete against each other for her approval, then gives approval to none of them. Stop. Ethan held up his hand. You need to hear it all, Mr. Whitman. Because tomorrow you must look at your wife like nothing has changed. You must smile at her and kiss her and pretend while we build a case so strong that no judge, no lawyer, no family court in South Carolina can deny what she has done. Ethan looked up at this woman, this housekeeper he'd hired 8 years ago and barely thought about beyond making sure her checks cleared, and saw a warrior. Why are you doing this? You could leave? Find another job? Why risk this? Maria's eyes filled with tears. Because when I was 8 years old, my mother beat me until I could not walk. And no one helped me. No one saw. I promised myself that if I ever saw another child suffering, I would not be like the neighbors who closed their curtains. I would not be like the teachers who looked away. I would fight. Then we fight together. They spent 3 hours planning. Maria had already started gathering evidence. Photos of bruises she'd documented over the months, recordings she'd made on her phone when Lydia's rage reached its peak, notes of dates and times and specific incidents. But they needed more. They needed video. They needed the kind of proof that couldn't be explained away or dismissed. I have a friend, Maria said. She works in security. She can get us small cameras, the kind that look like phone chargers or picture frames. We place them in the kitchen, the living room, Emma's bedroom. Places where Mrs. Whitman feels safe to show her true self. How long will it take? 2 days to get the equipment. Then we wait. Usually it does not take long. She is getting worse lately. More angry, more unpredictable. Why? Maria hesitated. I think she knows something is changing. Children grow up. They start to question. Sophia turned 14 last month, and I have seen her watching her mother with different eyes. Mrs. Whitman can feel her control slipping. Which meant time was running out. The next morning, Ethan came down to breakfast like an actor taking the stage. He'd barely slept, running through his lines in the darkness, preparing himself for the performance of his life. Lydia was at the stove, making pancakes in her silk robe, looking like every man's dream wife. Beautiful, domestic, perfect. Darling. She turned with that brilliant smile. I didn't hear you come in last night. When did you get home? He crossed the kitchen and kissed her cheek, tasting poison. Late. Didn't want to wake you. Something smells amazing. Just trying to give our family a nice breakfast before school. She gestured to the table where the children sat in perfect silence, eating mechanically. Say good morning to your father, kids. Good morning, Dad. They chorused, 3 robots programmed to respond. Ethan wanted to grab them and run. Instead, he smiled. Morning, guys. How's everyone doing? Silence. Emma stared at her plate. Lucas's jaw was tight. Sophia wouldn't meet his eyes. They're fine, Lydia answered for them. Just tired. They stayed up too late last night. Didn't you, kids? Yes, Mom, they whispered. The lie was so smooth, so effortless. Ethan poured himself coffee to give his hands something to do besides forming fists. So I was thinking, he said carefully, maybe I should cut back on travel for a while. Spend more time at home. What do you think? He watched Lydia's face. Just for a second, less than a heartbeat. Something flickered behind her eyes. Panic? Anger? Then it was gone, replaced by that perfect smile. That would be wonderful, honey. The kids miss you so much when you're gone. She turned to them. Don't you? Yes, Mom. Tell your father how much you miss him. We miss you, Dad, they recited. Ethan's heart broke all over again. They were terrified. Even with him sitting right there, they were too afraid to speak freely. After breakfast, Lydia shooed the children upstairs to get ready for school. The moment they were gone, she turned to Ethan with a different face. Harder. Colder. What's this really about? What do you mean? You coming home early, wanting to cut back on travel? Did something happen at work? No, nothing happened. I miss my family. She studied him like a scientist examining a specimen. You've never missed us before. You love traveling, you love your work. People change, Lydia. Not that much, not that fast. She stepped closer. Are you checking up on me? Did someone say something? Like what? I don't know. You tell me. This was the woman Maria had warned him about. The manipulator who could twist reality until you doubted your own eyes. Lydia, I don't know what you're talking about. I just want to spend more time at home. Is that a crime? She held his gaze for a long moment, then smiled again. Of course not, darling. I'm sorry, I'm just stressed. You know how it is with 3 kids. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning. The audacity of it took his breath away. She was already laying the groundwork, already crafting the narrative of the overwhelmed mother, the stressed-out wife who sometimes lost her temper but meant well. Maybe we should look into getting more help, Ethan suggested. Give you a break. We have Maria. Maybe Maria could use help too. Maria is fine, Lydia said sharply. Then softer, we don't need strangers in our house, Ethan. We're fine. Everything is fine. Fine. The biggest lie in the English language. That afternoon, while Lydia was at her book club, Maria's friend arrived with the equipment. Rosa was a small, efficient woman who moved through the house like a shadow, placing tiny cameras in plain sight. A phone charger in the kitchen, a digital clock in the living room, a stuffed bear with a camera lens hidden in its eye in Emma's bedroom. The audio is very good, Rosa explained, and the video streams to a secure cloud account. Even if Mrs. Whitman finds the cameras and destroys them, you will have the footage. How much do I owe you? Ethan asked. Rosa shook her head. Maria is like a sister to me. When she told me what was happening to those children, you owe me nothing. Just save them. That is payment enough. By evening, the traps were set. Now they had to wait for Lydia to walk into them. They didn't have to wait long. The next morning, Ethan announced he had to go into the office for a few hours, a necessary sacrifice to make Lydia think she was safe. He drove to the end of the street, parked, and pulled up the camera feeds on his laptop. At 9:37 a.m., Lydia called Emma downstairs. The little girl appeared in the kitchen doorway, already anxious. Yes, Mommy. Come here. Emma approached slowly. Lydia grabbed her arm and dragged her to the refrigerator, flinging open the door. What is this? I don't know. Don't lie to me. Did you drink from the orange juice carton? No, Mommy, the cap was left off. The cap was left off, and there's a mess on the shelf, and you're the only one who drinks orange juice in this house. I didn't. So it just magically happened? The juice just magically made a mess? Emma was crying now, trembling. Maybe it was Lucas. Maybe... Don't you blame your brother. Take responsibility for once in your miserable life. Ethan watched his wife shake their daughter until Emma's teeth rattled. He watched her force the child to clean the refrigerator with a toothbrush, every shelf, every drawer, while berating her the entire time. When Emma missed a spot, Lydia dumped a pitcher of water over her head. There. Now you're as messy outside as you are inside. Clean it up. Emma sobbed on the floor, soaking wet, scrubbing at the water with paper towels. Ethan saved the video. Then he drove home. He burst through the door to find Emma still on the floor, shivering. Lydia had moved to the living room, scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. Emma! Ethan dropped to his knees beside his daughter. Baby, what happened? I spilled something. Her voice was barely audible. She made a mess. Lydia called from the other room. She's cleaning it up. It's called responsibility, Ethan. He wrapped Emma in his arms, feeling her shake. Go upstairs and change into dry clothes, sweetheart. It's okay. But I have to finish. I'll finish. Go on. When Emma disappeared upstairs, Ethan walked into the living room. Lydia looked up with innocent eyes. What? What did you do to her? I told you. She made a mess. She's cleaning it up. She's 8 years old, Lydia. She's soaking wet and terrified. She needs to learn consequences. Consequences? Ethan's voice rose. She's a child. Lydia stood, her face hardening. Oh, I see. You're home for 2 days and suddenly you're parenting expert? Where have you been for the last 8 years, Ethan? I'm the one raising these kids. I'm the one dealing with their mess, their attitude, their constant demands. You get to swan in and be the fun parent while I do all the real work. It was textbook. Deflect, defend, attack. This isn't about me. It's always about you. Your work, your travel, your career. I gave up everything to raise your children, and now you have the audacity to question my methods? Our children. And your methods include dumping water on a little girl? She needed to learn a lesson. What lesson? To be afraid of her own mother? Lydia's eyes flashed with something dangerous. Get out. This is my house. Then I'll get out. And I'll take the children with me. Let's see how well you manage 3 kids on your own. There it was. The threat Maria had warned him about. Ethan forced himself to take a breath, to step back, to remember the plan. Lydia, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to question you. I'm worried about Emma. She seemed really upset. Lydia watched him carefully, trying to gauge if he was backing down or regrouping. She's fine. She's dramatic. She gets that from you. You're right. I'm sorry. You should be. She softened slightly. Look, I know my methods might seem harsh to you, but someone has to maintain discipline in this house. Someone has to make sure these kids don't grow up to be entitled brats. Would you prefer I let them walk all over me? No, of course not. Then trust me. I know what I'm doing. He nodded, hating every second of the performance. I do trust you. That evening, Ethan watched the footage from all the cameras. Hours of it. Years of abuse condensed into damning evidence. He watched Lydia tell Lucas he was worthless. He watched her make Sophia stand on a scale and then refuse to let her eat when the number was too high. He watched her lock Emma in her room for crying, leaving her alone in the dark for hours. He watched his wife systematically destroy his children's spirits, piece by piece. Maria found him in his study at midnight, tears streaming down his face. It's enough, she said quietly. We have enough now. How do I face them? How do I tell them I'm sorry I didn't see this? You show them. Tomorrow you show them that you see it now, and that it will never happen again. What if I can't protect them? What if the courts will see what we have seen? No judge will ignore this evidence, but first, you must be strong enough to confront her. I don't know if I am. Mr. Whitman? Maria knelt beside his chair. That woman in there, she is not the woman you married. I do not know when she changed or why, but the Lydia you loved is gone. What remains is someone who hurts children. Your children. You have spent your whole life building things. Now you must tear something down to save what matters most. He looked at her. Will you stay? After all this? Will you stay and help me? I will stay as long as you need me. The confrontation came the next morning after Ethan sent the children to school with Maria. He'd scheduled it precisely, timing it for maximum impact. He'd also called his lawyer and a family therapist, both of whom were on standby. Lydia was in the kitchen making coffee when he walked in with his laptop. We need to talk. Something in his tone made her turn. About what? About this. He opened the laptop and hit play. Her own voice filled the kitchen. You stupid, worthless little... The color drained from her face. What is that? You, being a monster. You recorded me? You had no right? I had every right. They're my children too, Lydia. She lunged for the laptop, but he pulled it away. There are copies. Multiple copies. You can't destroy this. You bastard. Her voice shook with rage. You sneaky, disgusting bastard. You came home and spied on me? I came home and saved my children from you. Saved them? She laughed, wild and bitter. From what? From structure? From discipline? From someone actually parenting them instead of being their friend? That's not parenting. That's abuse. Oh, please. You think a few harsh words are abuse? You think making them face consequences is abuse? You're pathetic, Ethan. You're weak, just like them. There she was, the real Lydia. No more masks, no more perfect smiles. I want you out, Ethan said quietly. Excuse me? Out of this house. Today, my lawyer is filing for emergency custody. A judge will review this evidence this afternoon. You're not getting near those kids again. You can't do this. I already have. She grabbed a coffee mug and hurled it at his head. He ducked and it shattered against the wall. They're my children. I carried them. I gave birth to them. You can't just take them from me. Watch me. They'll hate you for this. They'll never forgive you for breaking up this family. The family was already broken, Lydia. I'm just trying to fix it. She grabbed her keys, her face twisted with fury and desperation. This isn't over. I'll fight you. I'll take everything. The house, the money, the kids. I'll make you regret this. You can try. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Ethan stood in the wreckage of his kitchen, surrounded by shattered coffee mugs and broken illusions, and finally let himself breathe. The legal battle was swift, but brutal. Lydia hired expensive lawyers who tried every tactic, claiming Ethan was never home, that he was an absentee father, that the videos were taken out of context. But the evidence was overwhelming. The therapist who evaluated the children documented years of psychological trauma. The judge watched the videos with a stone face and granted Ethan full custody within a week. Lydia was allowed supervised visitation only, 2 hours every Saturday, with a court-appointed monitor present. She showed up for the first 2 visits, then stopped coming. The healing was slower, much slower. Lucas flinched every time someone raised their voice. Emma had nightmares and wet the bed. Sophia stopped eating, so damaged by her mother's obsession with weight that she couldn't trust her own hunger. Ethan hired a family therapist who specialized in child abuse. Dr. Patricia Chen came to the house 3 times a week, working with each child individually and all of them together. They're resilient, Dr. Chen told Ethan after the first month. But they're also deeply hurt. This will take time. Years, probably. You need to be patient. I have all the time in the world. Maria stayed as promised. She became more than a housekeeper. She was the steady presence the children needed, the grandmother figure who had protected them when no one else could. One evening, about 3 months after Lydia left, Ethan found Emma in the kitchen, standing on a chair to reach something on a high shelf. Hey, Bug, need help? She looked down at him, and for the first time in months, she smiled. Not the scared, fake smile she used to give her mother. A real one. I'm trying to get the flower vase. The pretty one. What for? I saw flowers outside. I wanted to pick some for the table. Is that okay? Ethan felt his throat tighten. That's more than okay, sweetheart. That's perfect. They walked outside together into the garden that Lydia had once obsessed over. Every plant perfectly trimmed, every flower in its designated place. Now it was growing wild, free, beautiful in its chaos. Emma picked yellow roses, the same ones Ethan had bought that terrible day when he'd discovered the truth. She arranged them carefully in the vase, her tongue poking out in concentration. There. She stepped back to admire her work. Pretty? Beautiful. That night, all 3 children came to his room before bed, something they'd started doing when the nightmares got bad. They piled into his bed, a tangle of limbs and healing hearts. Dad? Lucas said quietly. Can I ask you something? Anything, buddy. Are you going to leave again? For work? No, I rearranged everything. I work from home now. I'm not going anywhere. Promise? Promise. Sophia spoke up from her spot tucked under Ethan's arm. Dad? I'm sorry I didn't tell you. About Mom. I wanted to, but I thought... You don't have to apologize, Sophie. None of this was your fault. But if I had just been brave enough... Hey. He pulled her closer. You were brave. You survived. That took more courage than anything else. Emma yawned, already half asleep. I like it better now, even though we don't have Mom. Is that bad? Ethan kissed the top of her head. No, baby. That's not bad at all. Later, after the children had finally dozed off and Ethan had carried them one by one to their own beds, he sat alone in his study. The house was quiet. The good kind of quiet now, not the tense silence of fear. He thought about the man he'd been 6 months ago. The man who measured success in quarterly earnings and business deals, who thought providing material comfort was the same as providing love, who was too busy building an empire to notice his own kingdom was burning. That man was gone. In his place was someone humbler, someone who understood that true wealth had nothing to do with money. It was measured in bedtime stories and homework help, and the way his children could finally laugh without looking over their shoulders. He walked to the kitchen where Emma's flowers still sat on the table, golden in the moonlight. He'd brought flowers home that day, expecting to give them to Lydia, to maintain the illusion of a perfect marriage. Instead, those flowers had led him to the truth. These new flowers, picked by small, hopeful hands, they were different. They were real. They were a beginning. Outside, beyond the garden gate where shadows used to hide terrible secrets, the night was peaceful. The house felt lighter, as if Lydia's departure had lifted a darkness they'd all been living under. Ethan knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be setbacks and hard days. There would be therapy sessions and difficult conversations. The scars Lydia left wouldn't disappear overnight. But for the first time in years, there was hope. His children were safe. They were beginning to heal. They were learning to be children again. And Ethan was learning to be a father. Not just a provider, but a protector. Someone who saw. Someone who stayed. Someone who chose his children's well-being over every other consideration. He turned off the lights and headed upstairs, pausing to check on each child one more time. Emma was clutching her stuffed bear, the same one that had held the hidden camera. Lucas had kicked off his blankets and Ethan gently covered him again. Sophia was actually sleeping soundly, without the worry lines that usually creased her forehead. In his own room, Ethan lay awake for a long time, listening to the sounds of his house settling. No crashes, no screaming, no children crying in secret. Just peace. Just the beginning of healing. Just a family learning to breathe again. The garden gate that had once hidden shadows now stood open, flowers spilling through it into the world beyond. And in the morning, when sunlight flooded through the windows, the Whitman family would wake up to their first real day of freedom. Together. Would you love to see a part 2 of this story? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments.